division. Today we're going to discuss another process, which is synthetic division. And synthetic division is nothing more than a simpler process for dividing a polynomial by a binomial. The key here is this word right here, binomial. Synthetic division does not always work, whereas long division generally does. And so we're going to just look at a real quick way to do division, and you're going to have an assignment on this as well. And so if you look up here, it says use synthetic division to find. Now this will also help. I know some of you had some questions on, I think it was 30. Yeah. Was that the one that's you just asked about? Yeah. Okay. There's one thing you just need to do on number 30 in order to get that one to work out. Okay? For synthetic division, this is the thing. You're going to start with your highest power. And your highest power here is what? X cubed, right? X to the third. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to list all of my coefficients down from x cubed. If there's any one that is not there, you have to put a 0 in its place. Okay, so I'm going to start here with x cubed, so that's a 2. So this is where I'm starting. And you don't have to put x cubed. I'm just doing that so you can kind of follow. The next one after x cubed will be x squared, which is negative 13. The next one after x squared will be 26, which is x, and then negative 24. Okay? Now what I'm going to do then is I'm going to now divide by x minus 4. And so how we divide this is we actually use the opposite of whatever that number is. So what's the opposite of negative 4? 4. Positive 4. And so I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to put the 4 in a little location, or in a little half of the box there. Okay? So now this goes really, really quick. Okay? The first thing you're going to bring down is the very first number. So I'm going to bring down a 2. What I'm going to do with the 2 is I'm going to now multiply it by 4. So what's 2 times 4? 8. Now what I'm going to do is add those two numbers down. What is negative 13 and 8? Negative 5. Okay. Then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply negative 5 by 4 and get negative 20. Oops. Let's try that one again. And then I'm going to add the numbers down, and what do you get? 6. And then I'm going to take 6 times 4 and get 24. And then I'm going to add down, and I get 0. This is always the remainder.
0?
No, the last term. Whatever your last term is always your remainder. And so now the question is, what does the 2, negative 5, and the 6 mean? Well, this is where we go. I go up here to the start. X cubed divided by x. If you divide those two, what do you get? X squared. So this is your x squared, this is your x, and this is your constant. So my answer will be 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay? So it doesn't take up near the room that maybe the long division problem did. It's going to be fairly quick. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at another one. 4a to the 4th plus 2a squared minus 4a plus 12 divided by a plus 2. So now we need to list coefficients. What's the first one going to be? 4. What's the next one going to be? 0. You caught that because notice I went from an a to the 4th to an a squared. I've got to have an a cubed in there somewhere. Okay, what will be the next one? 2. Oh, in trouble with the 2's. Okay. Negative 4 and 12. What am I going to divide by? Negative 2. Always the opposite. Okay, so let's go ahead and, what do? Bring down the 4, and I get 4. And then what comes next? Negative 8, and then negative 8, and then 16, 18, negative 36, and 92. What is 92? The remainder. So now I need to figure out what are the coefficients of the terms. So let's go ahead and look here. What will the coefficient of 4 be? A cubed. Yep, so A cubed, A squared, A. Here's your constant, and here's your remainder. So your final answer, 4, I'm having trouble with the pen today here, 4A cubed minus 8A squared plus 18A minus 40 plus 92 over A plus 2. So what do you think? You like that a little better? Okay. So now, this problem is a little different. And this will probably be the last one we look at. And how is it different? Yeah, you've got a coefficient in front of the x right here, and I'll talk about how you deal with that. But let's go ahead and list our coefficients. What are they going to be? Good. Okay, so now the question is, what do you divide by? So, let's think about that. We always went with the opposite of this number, right? So what is the opposite of that? Negative 1. So when you get that negative 1, you're now going to divide by this number right here. So it would really be negative 1/2 is what you're going to divide by. So now this is a problem that long division you could do. Okay, with synthetic division you can do with a little tweaking. So let's go ahead and bring down our 8. What's 8 times negative 1/2? Negative 4.
Positive.
Yep. Yep. 1, 2, negative 1, and 3. So now, what are my coefficients going to be? 8x cubed minus, yep, minus, so now, that's synthetic division. Any questions? Okay, we're actually going to skip this next one because I think you're understanding it. And here's what your assignment is going to be. It's going to be a worksheet that I'm going to pass out shortly. Okay, both section 5 to the worksheet are due Monday at the start of class. Okay?